HMS Unicorn was built in 1824 and is now the world's last intact warship from the days of sail. One of the 6 oldest ships in the world. She was built shortly after the Great Sea Campaign against Napoleon as part of a program for re-equipping a battle-weary Royal Navy. This was the start of a long period of peace, and she was not required for immediate service. She was not rigged, but instead her hull was roofed over and she was put into reserve. The Unicorn spent her early years in reserve in the south of England and was brought to Dundee in 1873 to serve as the reserve training ship for the Tay. She remained unrigged and under the cover of a roof her entire working life, and the roof which now covers Unicorn's upper deck is believed to be the same one which was fitted immediately after her launch. Unicorn was built as a 46 guns frigate. She had taken 2 years and almost 1,000 oak trees to build, and her hull cost £26,541. For service at sea, Unicorn would have been rigged with 3 towering masts and a bowsprit. The main mast would have been 160 feet high and would have weighted 8¾ tons. 23½ miles of rope would have been used in the rigging, and the sails would have weighted 6 tons. HMS Unicorn was designed as one of the last of the successful Leda-class frigates, whose lines were based on the French frigate the Hebe, captured in 1782, and the whole class was one of the best of the age. 150 feet long in the hull, and armed with the combination of 18-pounder long guns and 32-pounder carronades. The carronade was a short smoothbore cast iron cannon, which was used as a powerful short-range anti-ship and anti-crew weapon. Her war crew complement would have numbered 300 men. Unicorn was built at the time when the shortage of timber and the availability of iron was beginning to affect the way ships were built, and the new methods of construction greatly strengthened wooden ships. Iron knees secured the deck beams to the ship's side frames in place of conventional wooden knees, which had to be cut from specially grown timber. Externally, she appears a traditional ship, yet structurally, she clearly shows the first signs of the immense upheaval of the Industrial Revolution, which in the space of a bare 25 years was to result in steam-powered, iron-built ships. From 1857 to 1862, Unicorn was lent to the War Department for use as a powder hulk at Woolwich, and in 1873 she was refitted in order to replace HMS Brilliant as the reserve drill ship in Dundee. During the Great War, she served as the headquarters for the senior naval officer, and at the end of World War II, on the 14th of May 1945, the German U-boat U-2326 surrendered in Dundee, and her captain and executive officer were brought aboard Unicorn, where the 2 German officers surrendered their naval dirks to Captain K, who commanded the Unicorn from 1927 to 1940. In June 1939, an aircraft carrier was launched as HMS Unicorn, and this frigate took the name HMS Unicorn II. Following confusion over mail and tales of Fleet Air Arm ratings arriving in Dundee looking for an aircraft carrier, the frigate was renamed HMS Cressy. When the time came for the aircraft carrier to be scrapped, the frigate recovered her original name and was renamed HMS Unicorn on 14th of July 1959. The Unicorn was already 140 years old when the Admiralty were informed in 1962 that the Earl Grey dock where Unicorn has been berthed was to be filled in to form part of the landfall of the Tay Road Bridge, and Unicorn would therefore have to move. The proposed move was highly controversial, as there were many experts who considered she could not be safely moved. On 13th of November 1962, Unicorn was eased out into the river under the tow of two Dundee harbour tugs, moved downriver under the watchful eyes of estimated 20,000 spectators to her new temporary berth in Camperdown Dock. The following year, she was moved again, a much shorter move, into Victoria Dock to the berth she occupied until a few years ago. Although HMS Unicorn had safely survived the moves from Earl Grey Dock to Victoria Dock, she had now become surplus to naval requirements, and despite being one of the last survivors of the Great Sailing Navy, she was to be scrapped. In the end, in 1968, the Unicorn Preservation Society was formed as a limited company with charitable status.